Welcome to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss the unidentified, the unexplainable, paranormal, conspiracies, and much more. Starring your host and co-host, Jenny Nicasio, Sean Kelly, and Jason Sledgehammer I. Petro. Brought to you by UPRN Network. Now for your host, Jenny Nicasio.
New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. Remember to like us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. I'm Jenny Nicasio along with Sean Kelly and Jason I. Petro. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Happy Thursday.
Hey, happy Thursday, Leo.
Is so glad to have you guys all together again. Such a happy little family we have.
Yeah, nice little trio.
Well, tonight, we're going to discuss the true haunting of Connecticut. And let me tell you, it's pretty spooky. I watched The Haunting on Connecticut this weekend. I really enjoyed it. It was a 2009 movie, and it's all based on true events. And I thought the film was pretty good, a little far-fetched, to be honest with you, although it was very eerie, which made a good movie to watch. The movie centers around the family who moved from upstate New York to Connecticut because of their son Matt had been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. A strain was putting a strain on the family, going back and forth to the University of Connecticut Hospital was getting just a little too much for them, and I can understand that being a mom myself. The house they rented used to be a mortuary, and they found a mortuary room in the basement where their son wanted to hang out and be his bedroom. Of course, I would never have done that. But the family started to be threatened with violence, and a lot of traumatic events happened in the house by the spirits. And apparently the mother contacts, or I think it was Matt who contacts a minister he met through a cancer treatment. And this is the movie version. The minister informed his buddy Matt that the supernatural encounters are a result of a previous occupant's occult activities, be it a Ouija board or some kind of weird seance or something. The film ends up when Matt discovers what is causing the hauntings and tries to get rid of the spirits by burning the house down with bodies of the spirits, which is weird. Still buried in the walls. Matt's mom runs to the burning building to try to get Matt out. Once Matt is brought to safety, he opens his eyes and can no longer see the dead people. He's now supposedly cured of cancer. Although the film is fact-based, I know you guys both watched it on a true story, but the producers added a lot of weird stuff to make it, movie-worthy, which they do. But the real Connecticut haunting, and you can read a lot about it online. There's a book made on it. And what we're going to do tonight, we're going to discuss what Sean and Jason, because they are paranormal investigators, and what they think, what's legit, what's not, what their views on it. So who wants to go first? Which one of you watched it first or whatever?
Good, Pat.
Well,
you can start us off.
I will. I will. Here's the deal. I watched it, and it was good. It was too eerie, too scary. It was made for Hollywood, the movie. And I almost fell asleep, So
wow.
Really did. Yeah, I did. And that's how bored it was. But what I was interested in was that I listened to the documentary on YouTube where they had the family on. And, I believe their story. Okay, I really do. And it was just amazing. The different situations that came up with. But as I was watching the documentary, toward the end, that lady, what was her name? Carol or something?
Carol.
Yeah.
Carmen
Snedeker. Yeah. She really, really, really got upset at the Warrens and whoever was else part of that, because she did not want to have a movie or anything written about it. She eliminated herself from all those people.
Really?
Yes, he
Now,
did.
which documentary did you watch?
Oh, Lord. It was, I
'Cause
don't
I watched
remember it.
I watched the one on the Travel Channel actually before we started again. I watched it a few weeks ago, but I watched it again, and she seemed
It
like
was-
she didn't say too much negativity about the movie. So maybe she just added that other stuff because I didn't hear anything about that.
Well, if I find the link, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
after the
send it
show.
to me. I would love to.
I will. Because,
Jason. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
but no, and what really surprised me at the end was how, according to it, that her neighbors made fun of her, her kids got razzled. They were always like getting into fights and stuff like that. And she didn't want nothing to do with this at all. And it was interesting in that documentary that the author, I'm pulling it up right now. He wrote the book, and she was telling her in the interview that the author just talked about to her for about less than an hour, and that was it. And so as I look this up, we'll turn it over to Jason. I'll get back to you on the story. Okay?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, so I like the movie. Obviously, like Sean said, it's Hollywood. It's spiced up for TV and entertainment purposes and everything. But I was curious about the real story about it, and so I started looking into it, and there's a lot of contradicting parts, like from the real story to the movie. They asked like the mortuary, that part's right and everything of that nature. But I was reading that Ed and Lorraine Warren actually investigated that house. They were called in to check it out and see if they could help the family out and everything. And apparently, from what I'm reading, they were basically saying that there really was no evidence of the actual house being haunted. It was more of in the people's minds because they apparently hired a guy, excuse me, his name was Ray Garton, Garton, back in, I think, the very early 90s to write, the book on the Snedekers. And, Ray was, like he did the interviews or whatever, and there's a lot of stuff that wasn't making sense. He's like, these people are crazy. So he went back to Ed and Lorraine, like, hey, these folks, seem like they're a little bit off the rocker. What do you want me to do with this book? And apparently, from what I'm understanding, they told him, we'll take some of it, but then make up the rest of the story and just make it as scary as possible. So I was doing some deep searching on that. So it's really because they said that, these people they're pretty nuts. And, there's no proof of any evidence of anything actually happening there. And the family, they went as far as to say that these demons were literally terrorizing and literally raping the parents. I was like, what? And they were sticking to their story about all this stuff. But then when, like I said, when Ed and Lorraine were interviewing multiple family members, none of their stories were the same. They were all different, like none of them coincided. So it's like, really got me wondering myself, is this actually a true story, or were the people just a little loony, or what was the real deal?
Yeah. When I researched it, they did a comparison to real life. Like, did they actually move near a hospital? Yes. The Haunting in Connecticut true story reveals that the real family son had cancer, and they did move there. And that's true. And then, was the house really a funeral home? Yes, it was. But it went really back. I mean, the house was a funeral. What is it, in the 1800s? It was a funeral home, or the early 1900s.
Early 1900s.
And Daryl Kearns, the former owner of the Southington house, confirmed that prior to purchasing the property in 1990, it served as the Hallahan Hallalahn funeral home, and it was there for multiple decades in Hartford. It's Hartford Kurt, that's what they call it, for multiple decades. So it could have been really, I mean, and then that's not all I found. He was what's that called when you have,
necromancer.
Necrophiliac, when you have sex with a dead body. I mean, the mortuary guy actually did that. So, that is so freaking creepy. So yeah, there might be some kind of sick demonic presence there, because you have to be a little demonic or out of your mind to do something like that. So that really freaked me out. And the mother, she knew that though. That's what I mean, she was so desperate. I guess as a mom, she was so desperate to find a home that was close so they didn't have to keep going back to the hospital, that even though she knew it was a funeral home when she rented it, with the mortuary stuff still in it. It's kind of, so she might have been like desperate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an act of desperation to move there, because what right person would move there if it was?
Well,
I'd probably live in a funeral home. You know, it's just
they're so creepy. Oh hell no! Hell no! I'm sorry. No way.
But then again, my house is super haunted tue, so it's like I think my house is more haunted than a funeral home.
No, the moment I get in,
great.
You're sick, Sean. Seriously.
I mean,
well, let me put it this way. Okay, wait a minute. No. Okay, this might change your view at it. Now, how many close family members have you been to in a funeral home?
How many close family members?
Close family members that you had to go to put them, to go view them.
Many.
Many close family?
Yeah, I mean, I have a big family, a huge family.
Okay, because that might change your attitude if you have close, like your immediate family you're going to see your mom, your father, your brothers, your sisters, your, close immediate family. I think that would change your wanting to go there all the time. You know what I mean?
No, not really.
Okay, honestly, because I know I buried a lot of my family. I mean, in the last 10 years, I buried my brother, my two sisters, my father, my uncle, my aunt. Jeez. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know if you really want to, hang out and live in a funeral home. That's kind of nasty. But I mean, if you want to, go ahead. The next one I see on what is it? Zillow. I'm gonna see if you like to live there. I'll send you.
I'd have to investigate it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I don't know, Sean.
Back to the story. What she was saying in that documentary was that her and her husband did not believe in ghosts. So the stories that their children were telling them at the beginning, they didn't believe their children. Okay.
Well, do you believe when your kids come up with these crazy things, do you believe them? I mean, when a mom getting poked in my bedroom by some ghost, or you try to humor the kid.
It's like kids are susceptible to a lot of different things.
Poltergeists, isn't that what a poltergeist? They hang out with little kids.
Yeah, because I mean, look at that one investigation we did. About 2 months ago, Sean? That the spirits from the old Clark Bar family mansion were haunting that kid. And ever since we got rid of them, like everything's been totally awesome over there, and the lady's real happy, the kid's happy, and. It's a whole new.
No more problems.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you guys would go next door, knock on their door, send them a flyer, to ask the Clark family if you could even just do a flyer saying, we did a couple, investigations in the neighborhood, and we just wanted to know if you were experiencing anything. If you were, you can contact us, and we'd be more than happy to come out. You should do that.
Well,
you should send them.
Mm-hmm. I think we're actually working on something like that.
Yeah, she is. There's a guy. There's a guy there that's like homeless, but he lives there
in the neighborhood.
In that mansion.
He owned it, didn't he?
Wait. Let's back up. I want to hear this. Back up. You didn't tell me this stuff. So back up and tell me about the homeless guy that actually lives there.
Well, you see, Sean was living out of his car at this one point in life, and
yeah. Hey, it was there.
Sean, are you sure you weren't out last night? Kicking your heels up.
No, I was taking care of my mom.
Okay.
Now, but there's this
So-
old guy. I thought he lived there, but he got evicted. But he still goes to the house every day and keeps.
So the guy that you talked
Yes.
to lived there.
Well, we didn't
What did he
talk to him.
say?
No.
yet. We didn't get to talk to him yet. We're trying to get a hold of him to set up a meeting.
Who told you? One of the people that had the haunting?
The lady that we investigated her house, she talked to him. And
Yeah.
getting his
Oh,
information.
definitely, you guys got to go there.
We're trying.
I mean, I try. I mean, I lost information about it. I mean, as far as
You
I
coming
got
with
from
us?
Carnegie,
You got to
I
come
don't
along.
want.
Hey,
No,
Come on.
I was just having this conversation with my mother. We were watching the Ed and Lorraine documentary on Travel Channel a little while ago, and I said they always ask me to go, and I said I don't want to go because the last time I went on an investigation, I told you it was at Bush Run Battlefield. I am not kidding you. That happened to me. I got sick. I got the H1N1 the next day, and I think it was from that ghost or whatever it was piggybacked on me, went home with me, and it made me sick.
no, well, see, who were you with that night, though?
I was
Who were
with
you
my
with?
son, the medium. My son is a medium.
Okay. Now,
And-
check this out. You haven't been out with us. Jason,
I
how
was
many
out
times
with
have-
you at the Irwin. I was with you with the Irwin
no.
Moose.
Yeah,
and
we're not even counting that one.
We're not counting that one as
Yeah,
an
that doesn't
investigation. I'm
count,
talking
no.
about Jason.
Why?
How many
Because I
times?
think it was haunted.
How many times have people gotten attached or hurt or sick after our investigations?
Every single one.
Honestly, nobody.
You said every single one. Okay, thanks, Jason. Tell them the truth. That's very important. You need to tell the truth and be honest with this stuff.
No, it's none of us have had anything bad happen because you just don't let it.
Well,
You know,
I'd be the kind that'd be like on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'd have my holy water, my Bible, my rosary around my neck. I would have
Bring
all.
it. Bring
I'd be
it.
like loaded down with I'd have a belt with my rosary hanging, and I'd have some sage, and I'd have my Bible and my 4 things of holy water wrapped around.
But
And
you know
some
what?
garlic too.
You
Couldn't
know
leave out
what?
the garlic.
Jason and I would never, ever, ever, ever let anything happen to you. Never.
Well, always
And that's the truth. Honest
Well,
to God.
Well, I believe it. But getting back to the Connecticut story, so we figured that out. So they lived in a mortuary. Apparently, it was a old spooky mortuary with tables in the back, kind of weird equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
So the Mrs. Snedeker, she claims it definitely was a weird presence that was blocking the stairwell. That's when she said she found the embalming equipment. Now, I don't know how much truth is behind that one, but that's kind of creepy.
But you know what?
never know
Getting
you're gonna
back.
find in these old places. you know.
True.
There's
But
all
you know
kinds of
what?
stuff.
With her, I'm sorry, but with her son, who had cancer, okay, he had a lot of energy, and with him being sick as he was, he drew the spirits to him.
Yeah, because he
You know
was
what I
so
mean?
close to death, probably because he ended up really
Yeah.
dying. He did die in real life.
Absolutely. And that's how all them spirits decided to come in and be in that house, and when you invite spirits into your houses, okay, you don't know who you're bringing in,
No,
so maybe about 10 or 12 of those spirits that were there, maybe there was one really bad spirit in there and raised all kind of hell.
yeah, I don't know, Sean. You said we both watched it. There was a scene where she was mopping in the embalming room, and she kept on mopping and mopping and mopping, and then it got bloody. That actually did happen in real life.
That's
Okay.
what I read too. That
Yeah.
she was mopping the floor, and then all of a sudden it started smelling like decaying flesh, and the water turned to blood and everything. But then again, it takes us back to where's the proof of it? Like Ed and Lorraine were saying, like these people are kind of out of it, and there's no actual evidence that any of this happened.
Okay, since this is where I get a little confused, like where make believe comes into it in the movie, all that special effects. Okay, has anybody actually seen something like that in a haunting in a house that they saw, like they were hallucinating, or were they on some kind of narcotic that would bring it?
We actually had an investigation probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It was in North Versailles. It was this guy and his family. It was this guy, his wife, and their daughter, and he was claiming that there was a spirit terrorizing his daughter real bad.
Mhm.
And the wife was saying the same thing, but the daughter wasn't there when we got there, so it was kind of odd. So we talked to them, and then they left. They just left us there to investigate. And we're like, okay. So we investigated.
Yeah, I remember that.
everything.
Yeah.
So what it turns out is, like, this gentleman had like his little shop per se in his basement, and in his basement was really low. Like I couldn't even stand up down there. And there was fluorescent lights everywhere and just wires upon wires. And just being down there for 5 or 10 minutes, it just made you sick feeling from all the EMF. Our meters were going off the charts and everything. And, he was talking about how he wants to fight this ghost and all this. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But it turned out that because he hung out down there all day, like every day doing whatever he was doing. And, we deemed it because we caught absolutely nothing. There was no negative energy in that house, no signs of any, terrorizing spirits or anything. And it just turns out that, from him hanging out down there with all that EMF, it just, it was affecting him, so it's kind of like hallucinating, you know what I mean? He's thinking something's happening, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, I guess your mind could play a trick on you like that.
With the EMF, that there's high EMF in the room itself. Yes, it really can make you delirious.
That's probably why we shouldn't be hanging out with those 5G? Was it 5G? But I just want to say hello to Jeff. Hi, Jeff. You're in the chat room, and Albert and Mark. Byers. And Jeff says, my friends towards the Coriopolis area, the Copelands own a couple of funeral homes. So maybe you should see if they live in any of them. I would like to know. That's scary.
We actually did. We actually investigated like 3 or 4 funeral homes. And to be honest with you, there were spirits there, but they weren't bad spirits. We actually set up, we walked in on the mortician, putting embalming fluid into a body.
Oh, no, thank you.
That was crazy. But that was,
that's too real life. I don't like that stuff.
Was real life here.
But you know what? The one band I was in, we were actually shooting some partial music videos in a funeral home. It was really sweet. And they actually had bodies downstairs.
Wasn't it disrespectful to the dead?
No.
I mean, if I was dead and somebody wanted to shoot a music video,
I guess.
I'd be happy.
But it was just weird. It was real eerie downstairs, where there was actually some fresh embalmed bodies down there. Like,
oh my God, Jason.
I'm here. Let's check it out.
No, thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not going because I'm not going. I see enough dead in my family. I don't want to go see a dead person's being.
Do you know that when you go to a cemetery, that is the safest place to be because you're in hallowed ground. It's all holy. Nothing can happen to you in the cemetery. And that's the truth.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
I had an experience at the West Newton Cemetery that was a little
Mount Carmel.
Creepy.
You watched?
Their ghosts are there, but nothing negative will happen to you.
Have you? You must have watched Night of the Living Dead. Something.
Jeez, okay. I'll just sit there one night. We'll go out to New Brighton and sit in the cemetery and wait for zombies to come out.
Thank you, John. I'm not going to. He wants to take me to a cemetery too. The only time I went to a cemetery was to make out. Okay, that's.
Oh my God!
I'm not going back.
Damn, that's gross, man. Wow.
No, isn't that disrespectful?
Don't tell my mom if she's listening. Don't tell my mom or my kids that are listening.
You know what? Think about it, right?
I feel like I'm on Howard Stern right now.
There you go.
Yeah, we're talking about being disrespectful for shooting a music video, and she's making Come on.
Seriously, and all the spirits were getting into it. You know what I mean? They're like, You made them
okay.
jealous.
All
You made
right,
them jealous.
listen. Did you know that in the movie Haunting in Connecticut, that dish scene where remember the dishes put themselves away?
That would be nice.
No,
Did you see
not
that in the
really.
movie? Yes. Well, the movie depicts this occurrence it actually happened to the oldest son, Philip Snedeker. It did happen to him, and so that's true. I think and I know what you guys are saying. You're saying that the mother was losing her mind, and Lorraine said they were all crazy, but I think that could happen.
Hey, you know what? All I can say is if one of the spirits that was here actually put the dishes away, that'd be nice so they can earn their keep.
That would be
too,
cool.
You know what I'm saying?
They can clean my house.
I think that they took a piece of that from a different haunting, Lorraine and Ed, that the dishes were thrown on the floor, and I think that happened in Connecticut too. It was a different. Did you know there was 2 hauntings in Connecticut?
Ghosts of Georgia.
No, just one.
No,
I
there was
didn't really-
2. If you watch the Travel Channel, they mentioned 2, and I actually took notes. And of course, I don't have them with me. Figures, I had taken notes. Damn, I don't have them. That there was 2 hauntings in Connecticut. I can't remember the name of it though, but it wasn't this one because this was on. What was the street? Oh darn, I can't remember the street. Or maybe this was it. What was the street of the haunting in Connecticut?
Elm Street.
Oh man, I wonder if I had. No, it wasn't Elm Street. That was Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me see.
It was that last house on the left. Remember?
Wait. I want to see if I can find it because unless that was the haunting in Connecticut, because she said the dishes were thrown.
No, who did?
Wayne
Moore.
Okay, there was one.
did?
The Snedeker house was in on Southington, Connecticut, and the other one was okay. Let me make sure it was 993, 9 something, and I can't find it. Damn. Shoot. Let me see. No, I can't find it, of course. But anyways, they did show a part with the house where the dishes were thrown on the floor. And and this is on Lorraine and Ed's story, but I don't think it was the same Connecticut house. And which was really cool. And getting back to Ed and Lorraine, they did an investigation in in Pennsylvania, Pittsville or something like that. That was really scary.
Uh-huh.
That was the only one I know that they did an actual investigation in Pennsylvania. But getting back to
with today's technology and and having all the gear that we're able to have, sometimes I wonder, what was it really like to investigate with old school stuff? Old school condenser mics with big reel tapes and
then they just had those little cassette tapes.
Could you imagine trying to review all that? Oh my god!
Well,
it's a pain in the butt.
Well, I gave up here with our little nanny cam. I gave up because it's so stupid.
Why?
The thing doesn't because it doesn't, and half the time it never records. It shuts off.
Did you say
So I don't know. Maybe it's just a cheap nanny cam. But it just because I was trying to pick up spirits, but I think I have good spirits here. I think it's just my daddy looking out for us.
There you go.
Yeah, because always like that. He was always yelling at me, "Close the blinds, Jenny. Close the blinds." Meanwhile, it's like 7:00. Close the blinds.
Jason, the old school. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The old school. When I started in 2006, you remember them big old VHS recorders?
Yeah, you had one of those.
That's what we used.
Ew.
That and a micro thing, an EVP, micro.
Yeah.
And those were the old ones where you actually put the tape in the analog one.
Yeah.
Where it was on the spool.
2006.
But we decided, and a lot of the ghost hunters at the time decided that if you use the analog, then it wouldn't be affected that much because we weren't really into the digital. It was more of an analog that we did it with. And so we did it old school, but I like new school now.
Yeah, I gotta honestly say, I think I'm more of a fan of digital just because I feel like you can eliminate a lot of extra noises and stuff that with analog you can't. like
Right.
tape noise and hums and all that jazz. To actually be able to upload your digital file into, like, I use recording software, from, my music days, and, I'll upload the files and I'll be able to see where, blips are, or, you can, like I said, you can eliminate all the background noise and everything. So you get a much clearer picture per se, but of audio, rather than you would, I think, with trying to listen back on tape and then try and upload that to something else. Good luck.
Well, see what happened. What happened was a lot of people, when the digital thing got into paranormal, a lot of people would download Audacity, right? And they used to manipulate a ghost on their recording to get so-called evidence. Do you know what I mean?
Ghost
What do you mean?
A lot of people manipulated their recordings in order to make it sound like it was haunted, like there was a ghost fucking.
That's real easy.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that happening.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I'll do that, and I'll send one right to you, Jenny.
You should. That's like crime stuff, And let me just tell you, if you have a fascination with the mysterious crimes, unsolved mysteries, perplexing cults, and all that fall in between, I want you to follow the girls, Cults, Crimes, and Cabernet. They have a weekly podcast that covers horrible happenings that occur across the nation. Melissa and Whitney, they provide an insightful yet eye-opening approach to these crimes. Their laid-back conversation style makes you feel like you're hanging out with the girls with a glass of wine and your closest friends. They cover new cases every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platforms. You can find a link to Cults, Crimes, and Cabernet on our website, chasingprophecy.com. Click the link. There's a sample there too. I just wanted to throw that in there, guys. But yeah, there's a lot of you don't be throwing no mysterious fake spooky stuff on a tape to me.
Hey, Jeff,
sent a message at the door
with the street name that you were looking for. It's Goa Way was the road name.
Goa Way.
Yeah, that you were looking for. Like GOA space.
Oh, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. He did that because I couldn't remember it. I know they mentioned it, but I don't think I think there's two different Connecticut houses that are haunted. That's
Did any of y'all see the Connecticut 2 Ghost of Georgia? I didn't.
I started to watch it. Jason told me the Corey guy or what's his name?
Gordy.
I don't know about that one.
That's apparently partial as well.
Okay.
I can see, I do believe that maybe someone who was protecting slaves would help, but he seemed awful evil.
But apparently that Mr. Gordy was actually the nice guy, but in the movie they're depicting that like the slaves were the bad people and everything. But it turns out in real life, the true story, that house wasn't even part of the Underground Railroad. Like that's all made up and in the movie. Yeah, so the Mr. Gordy
That's Hollywood.
The real part.
Well, they have to make a good script. I mean, they have to. They can have to exaggerate a little bit. Who would want to watch it if it was just, kind of weird. But again, that back to the Connecticut house haunting. That the boy actually did sleep down in the mortuary part of the house.
Oh, I would too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
yeah. Why not?
I would.
And the older brother actually had the younger brother lay on the gurney in the morgue. He actually did that to him, and he did freak out. Apparently, he scared the heck out of him. And the lights did flicker on and off without light bulbs. So how does that happen? How do the lights
Jason, he's good at that.
Yeah, right.
Ask Jason about that one, man. Bring Jason into the room and the lights will flicker.
Well, no. The thing was, they didn't have light bulbs. The lights flickered. There was just a little, a little thing where the light bulb would turn, screw into it. Yeah. They didn't have. There was no light bulbs, but they still flickered on and off. That's kind of freaky.
I mean, some crazy stuff can happen.
If that's the case, the spirit actually had a lot of super energy to do that.
Yeah. That was required.
Very strong.
Absolutely.
Very strong entity did that.
I mean, I've had light bulb explode twice.
Yeah, I had
of
that
spirit
happen.
activity. Like the glass shattered and went everywhere as we walked by it. That was pretty creepy. Sean witnessed one of them. Remember that the second time?
Yes, sir.
The first time it happened, and then was it a couple years later did it happen again when you were here?
Yeah,
It just exploded, just popped.
it was crazy. It was crazy.
The movie, the boy actually, no, this is what I want to know. Do you believe that the boy that was sick in the movie, did he actually have hallucinations because of the medicine?
Probably.
My dad had chemo for like a year, and he never had hallucinations at all. So
Yeah.
I can tell you this. A good friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, he passed away from cancer probably about 10 or 11 years ago, and he was rather young. But I remember as he was going through his chemos and everything and started, progressing, getting to a more severe level, he started seeing a lot of different things, like a lot of hallucinations.
Yeah.
I believe that that's probably what that was.
No, he didn't have any.
Yeah.
From the medication. He wasn't getting any hallucinations. So that's something that they made up in the story.
Yeah.
Which, it's not a bad, made a little bit. He said there was no chance of him having hallucinations or delusions with the medication he was on. So maybe it was from the haunting.
Maybe.
plus, yeah, I have no doubt in my mind. And plus, down there with all, if that was an old parlor funeral place, and they probably never changed the wiring in the house. So, like Jason said, there's a lot of EMF energy coming off of those wires.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be. So you're okay. Let me just back up a little bit. The EMF. You're saying EMF will make you hallucinate. So I'm sitting next to my modem. Am I going to hallucinate tonight?
How old's the wiring in the house?
The house was built in 96.
Did she ever change the wiring on it?
No.
Well, 96 is Romex, so it's not the old aluminum crap or the knob and tube. It is Romex copper, so it's probably actually 12 gauge.
So I'm healthy? It's not going to hurt me?
Yeah. No, everything nowadays, like newer houses, they're switching it down to 14 gauge to save money, but I personally don't like 14 gauge. I'd rather have my house wired with 12, because you start running sweepers and all this other crap pulling high amperage. That's how you melt wires.
Yeah.
Too light a gauge. But then the old school aluminum crap is just as bad, if not worse. And, knob and tube is the worst.
That's true. And also Carmen Reed she did what she was showing in the movie, that she lifted a coffin. Do you remember that scene in the basement that led to a trap door in the master bedroom floor? Do you remember that scene?
I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that. No, unless
trap door.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, it takes 6 people to lift a coffin. Come on. Please.
Well, it said that no, it did. Apparently, it did happen. That yes, that Philip Snedeker, the older, slept in the basement with his little brother Bradley Snedeker, and since the upstairs rooms were smaller, it was the only room that could accommodate the team. So the two brothers slept in the basement in a casket display, which was true. And there was down the hall from the former embalming room, but that she did see the coffin, and it did lift up. So that did happen in the real story.
I'd like to spend a night in a coffin.
I would not want to be sleeping in an embalming case. That glass, there was a glass like in the movie that actually was the room. It was like, and that's where he slept. It's pretty freaky. I don't think
the best sleep you'd ever get in there.
Maybe, I don't know.
Once you get past the psychological fear of it, yeah.
Right, exactly.
And then psychological fear. Yeah, I guess so. But they say how many seance did that Jonah conduct in the house? And during the movie, there was seance.
Zaphis? Was that him?
No, it was Jonah, portrayed in the movie by Eric J. Berg. There were seances in the movie, and he wanted to, I'm asking you, were there really seances in the real house? Back in the old, remember the scenes where they were showing the old clips, not like the the old
back
clips.
Then, I guarantee it, they were holding seances. back
Yeah,
then
you
to
never
find
know.
out who was there.
Well, no, they said there wasn't any of the filmmakers actually added that guy, the character from the going back in time and seeing the old pictures, the old motion picture of Jonah, the storyline to help kind of make it more, like supernatural elements to the movie, but it never happened. Unless
Okay,
it did,
that's
maybe,
cool.
but maybe there was, but they didn't. The movie producers added that. Maybe
You
they
see,
didn't
Well, of
have any
course.
kind of.
That's just like the book, Ray Gardner or whatever was told to spice it up, make up a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff to make it as scary as possible. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know what? According to Carmen, okay, I got to send you that documentary. It was great.
Well, trying to get her
She's
on the show, but she finally found out that she was remarried, and so I couldn't find. I was going by her her former marriage name,
I
but she
want
got
to
remarried.
say I think her new name is Knox. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I
it's
think-
like home, and I have her
San
actually as a
Diego.
I added her as a Facebook friend,
Her new
so
name
I'm
is
trying
San
to get her a
Diego.
message.
Where's Carmen Sandiego?
Mick Hone is her name. Mick Hone, Hone. I tried to get her on the show. I found out today what her last name. That's probably why I couldn't find her. But yeah.
Mhm.
But Sean,
But,
one of your buddies. Where is he? He was just asked me. Wait a minute. He asked me to tell you. Tell Sean that he needs to get you all to a haunted gold mine someplace and do an investigation.
absolutely. Absolutely. We have to go out to Montana or Idaho, out west, because there's a lot of gold mines. And there's one down in Arizona, which the guy owns. And I'm friends with him. So maybe we can go there.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Absolutely.
That'll
I'm
be
going to
cool.
see if there's any Tommy knockers. That just intrigues me.
If there's a Tommy knocker what resembles you.
Stephen King wrote about that. You watch too many Stephen King movies, Pat.
Yeah.
No,
And-
I mean, that's a
Langoliers.
true deal. That's a true deal. A lot of the miners claim that the Tommy knockers are in gold mines and all kinds of mines, not so much gold, silver mines, all kinds of mines. And
That's cool.
I'd like to do a show on that one day, just on Tommy knockers.
That'll be
If
good.
you're up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do a show on. You can do all the research.
Yeah. I'll just call some guys that have I'll just have some guys. I got a lot of hard rock miners that are friends of mine, and I'm sure they'll come on
Your
and
friends?
they'll talk about it.
Yeah, you should.
Mhm.
Did you know that they did? Okay, wait. No, I'm asking you guys in the movie. You know how she found all those pictures, those old pictures of dead people, like with the cat people they're dead and they're laying on the beds. Is that true?
Well, it depends on what era it's from, because actually back in I think it was like the 1800s and stuff, like people would take pictures posing with dead relatives, dead pets. They would pose them to look like they're still alive, but they were dead.
Yes.
So.
Well, that actually did happen. She did find all those pictures, and there was I don't know what you call those things that actually is in the house. It's like that they're like ottomans, but they're connected to the wall. I don't know what they are. They're like seats, but they open up. But she did find a mess of them in there too. I have a confession. I've always wanted to do that. Take a picture of one of I wanted my brother. I wanted to take his picture, and I thought, no, what if someone found it? Think I was creepy. I wanted to do that, but I never did it. But I did think about it.
I was thinking that, like, if I was to ever build a deck onto the house or something, I would get one of those life-size fake skeletons,
Oh,
like
jeez.
the full skeleton, and bury it in the dirt under the deck.
That would be fun.
That would be
Yeah,
sweet.
so in like 40 years, when somebody else
That would be fun.
oh my God, there's a bounty here.
I could do
That would
that.
be
That would be
sweet.
fun. Or do it like a gag, like an April Fool's joke. Come back and say, "Honey, I found this buried in the yard." It's his arm, all
I
muddy.
love it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
God only knows what's in your backyard, Jason. Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
That's so haunted there.
I found this is crazy. So I was doing some metal detecting a couple years back in the yard, and I got to this one section, picked up some stuff, but I started digging, and about 6 inches underground, I found all these bricks that were perfectly laid out, almost like a road. You know, I dug like a section, only about 2 foot wide, but I was like, what the heck is this? And I don't want to keep tearing up my yard. So
No, that would be cool though to find something in your yard. But Carmen Reed also found like toe tags that you put on a body and like head tags too. Creepy as hell.
Sure they were there.
Yeah.
And there was other personal items that she found too that I would definitely get rid of. I totally would. That was just
what's sad about the whole deal. What's sad about that Carmen's family is that when the story got out into the public, they really ridiculed the crap out of them. You know what I mean? They really made their lives a hell because everyone thought that family was crazy and that seeing ghosts and doing this and doing that. And again, the damn media caused all that crap.
Well,
so she ended up believing things.
That was from a time period too when right now from the early 2000s to now, ghost hunting has been a huge thing. People love it. There's paranormal groups everywhere. But back in the day, even 30 years ago, you were ridiculed and thought of as you're losing your mind. You're seeing ghosts. Ghosts aren't real. But then there's like a complete 180. Now it's just real big,
right?
Bigger than ever.
Well, getting back to Ed and Lorraine, I know they started it. So a lot of people, like I know personally, don't like them that much, but I think that they opened a door for all you people. I mean, it was them. I don't know. I think that I believe them. I think they were sincere. They never charged anybody. The producers, the movie people came to them because there was a couple towns in Rhode Island that had a haunting, and it was so out of control that the media got involved, and there was like crowds in the street. If you saw the documentary, you saw that the newspapers. It was in the police, and then the police did end up calling the one in Rhode Island, I believe, a hoax, saying it was the daughter. But then Ed and Lorraine said that's what's wrong. It was just what it was early fake news. You know what I mean? It was true.
Yeah.
Well, you know what too, that about Ed and Lorraine is the whole movie series The Conjuring is based off of a couple of their actual investigations. Some of them was on investigations they based those movies off of.
Yeah, I read the script for the Conjuring, and I thought it was so cool because it was totally they didn't follow it, which I think they should have. I thought that the script was the first screenplay rather than the actual movie, because once it starts out as a spec script, and then from there they sell it to the writers that they want, and then they change it. But the spec script you should read it one night. It'll take you an hour. It was so much better than the movie itself. I think that they would have followed because it was based on the true story of the family. They probably would have it would have probably been better. But yeah, I watched them all. My son got me involved in watching them. I would always be, no, they're too scared, and he made me watch them. Actually, I like them. But my favorite one was Annabelle.
Yeah, it's interesting how all those movies actually like intertwine. The Annabelle series and Conjuring.
Because they're all made on true. That room that they have is true. Well, they had a museum with all those different weird shit in there.
It would be awesome is if somehow they got Insidious intertwined with all those.
Oh, Insidious,
like Annabelle, Conjuring, Insidious.
Oh my God, dude!
Together, that'd be amazing.
Insidious was probably the scariest one with that old woman who, the psychic lady. She freaked me out. I like that one.
The Further.
Hey, Poltergeist was an awesome movie. Come on.
Yes.
That was the original scary movie.
Poltergeist had all those tragedies that happened.
The Exorcist was the original OG scary movie.
Yeah.
The original 1970s uncut version. So you see the part with the crab walk down the stairs and all that other crazy stuff. That was scary.
Yeah.
Especially when you were 11 years old when you first see it.
Yeah. Getting back to the haunting in Connecticut, now I'm going to ask you this. You both watched the movie. Did the son really see those faces with the carves on their faces? Was that something that really happened?
I'm not sure. I don't know if
I'm
it
not
is.
sure
It's
either.
just Hollywood.
I'm not
you
sure
know.
either.
No.
I don't know.
Although there were sightings were reported, none of it ever happened. That was something that like the thin man with the high cheekbones and the black hair and the pinstripe tuxedo, that was all made up. So that was the producers. They added that.
Well, you know what? According to that documentary, one of the sons saw that, so it could have been true. One of the sons actually saw that apparition in the doorway, I do believe, or her niece. One of them did. I remember that through the documentary.
And there was the husband, Matt, who did he really have a radical personality change, or was that something made up too?
I think that was made up.
Probably.
No, he actually had a personality change. And I think if your house is haunted, you probably would have that.
You know, it's crazy. While I was doing some digging on, the real story about this, the haunting of Connecticut, I stumbled across that the whole Amityville horror is all fake too. Like it's all
No.
Robert
Yeah, it
DeFeo
is.
actually.
No.
Yes.
You know, Jason, I did a lot of research. I read a book
Robert
on that.
DeFeo actually, did murder his family or whatever, but the movie and everything is, from what I was digging up on, is totally made up, and they just took that story and ran with it another.
No, I read
Just
the
like
real
this
story.
one.
No, the original story that happened to the Lutz family
Yeah.
in Amityville. They actually left the refrigerator full of food. They left everything, their food still on the table. They left their clothing. They never went back. Apparently, before the home, when they had it, when the whatever you call it, DeFaze, whatever his name is, he killed his family. Before that, in 1920s, it was a warlock's house. I think a lot of shit started from him, the warlock. Go do some research on it. It was freaky. No, I believe it. I believe that's one that I think that even Lorraine and Ed said that was one of the worst hauntings they ever went to. It was pure demonic, and they tried. Eventually, I don't know. I think they actually did clear it with an exorcism, but they said that was one of their most authentic hauntings. I got to send you this book. I read it. Was freaking me out. Seriously, guys, you got to read it. I totally believe Amityville was real.
You can find interviews with Robert himself. There was actually one a couple.
The one in prison.
Yeah, he's in prison, and they start asking him all kinds of different.
He doesn't remember anything. He said.
Yeah, but he's also a little bit out there too. So
he's because he's killed his whole family.
Oh yeah.
It is getting close to the witching hour.
Oh, yes, it is. It is getting close to the witching hour. Oh, I just want to say it was very fun tonight. I really enjoyed it.
It was.
I had a lot more stuff we could have talked about. What was true, what was not true. We'll have to pick it up another time. But make sure you tune in to us on Thursdays at 7 Eastern, 6 p.m. I'm not using my little script. I'm doing it all by ear. 6 Central on the UPRN Radio Network, FM 107.7 New Orleans. And you can check out our website, www.chasingprophecyradio.com. And if you have an investigation and you need the boys from Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, give Jason and Sean a message, drop it in Pittsburgh Paranormal. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you do that because we need you guys, and we need you to subscribe so we can get some followers. So everybody, good night. Thank you for tuning in.
Everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
See you next week.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye.